Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Opinion City podcast. I'm your host, King Ralph, and as you can see, I am without my good friend Parmesan, who is sailing the high seas somewhere out in the middle of nowhere on the Jericho cruise. So he is not here this week. So we're doing a little special episode of the Opinion City podcast as we begin our very first Bell to Bell month. We have done Monster Factory month before, and we're super excited to talk bell to bell wrestling. Women's wrestling is extremely important, and organizations like this that really put forth some of the best women's wrestling, they are also very important as well. So we're super excited to be able to do this. And for our very first episode, we have a special guest. You may remember her from her appearance during our last Monster Factory month. It is Bell to Bell owner Missy Sampson's in the house.
What's going on? Hi, everyone.
Hello. Good to see you. I'm so glad you could join me for this. I think this is going to be a really fun episode. And if this episode is anything like the conversations we were having before we came on the air, this is going to be super fun.
Well, I promise our guest is 10 times more entertaining than I ever am.
So. Oh, okay. Well,
I'm honored to have been asked to co-host the first Bell to Bell month episode.
Yeah, it's we're super excited to be able to do this. We love here at Opinion City, we love indie promotions. We love supporting local indie promotions, especially PA and Jersey. Like it's important that we support each other, and it's really cool what you're doing. I love wrestling organizations that focus on just the female talent and getting them a spot, especially at a facility like the Monster Factory, being able to do things there and just bring out women's wrestling. It's really cool. All right. So before we get started here, just a couple quick things.
I'm very blessed to be able to run it out of the Monster.
Yes. Awesome. All right. So just a couple things. We do this every time we start. We've got 3 free and easy ways that you can support the channel. Number 1, you can hit that like button. Let us know that you enjoy what we're doing here on the show. Number 2, smash that subscribe button. Let us know that you are enjoying everything and you don't want to miss a single episode. Number 3, hit that share button. Tell all your friends about the Opinion City podcast. We appreciate all the support. If you'd like to support us even further, hey, we've got merch like this beautiful retro sunburst Opinion City logo, but we've got all kinds of logos. We've got fanny packs. Buy a fanny pack and join the fanny pack. Links are in the description below. You can follow us at Opinion City Pod to see everything that we're doing. You can follow at Wild_LLC to see everything that the corporate overlords that apparently own us are doing. And finally, and most importantly, please follow and support our guests. It's why we're here. It's what we do. We love supporting indie wrestling, indie wrestlers, indie wrestling promotions, and please follow them on social media. If you have a chance to go out and see them live, please get out there and see these indie promotions like Bell to Bell. Support our guests, buy merch, do all the stuff. All right, so without further ado, it is time to bring in our special guest today, and boy do we have a good one to kick off Bell to Bell month. It is the very first ever Bell to Bell Diamond champion and just an overall superstar of the East Coast. It is Gabby Ortiz.
Hello.
Yay.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Welcome to the show. It's super exciting to have you here to kick off Bell to Bell month. I know that you have a lot of connections to Bell to Bell, not only being their Diamond champion. So we'll get into some of that, but let me start off by asking you if you were to describe who Gabby Ortiz is to someone who has never met Gabby Ortiz, doesn't know a thing about her, who would you say Gabby Ortiz is?
Gabby Ortiz is a total spitfire, doesn't know when to shut up, has a big butt, uses it to her advantage, is from Philly. Will not let you forget it. And again, will not shut up. That's Gabby Ortiz.
That's why you're the gift of Gab.
She can beat people up too. So.
Oh yeah. Very cool. So let's dive right into Bell to Bell, and obviously you are, as we mentioned, the first Diamond champion of Bell to Bell. Talk a little bit about what being that first Diamond champion means to you.
Being the first Diamond champion means it just means. I mean, it meant everything to me. I mean, starting, I hope, I know Missy and Danny Cage had a conversation about Bell to Bell before Missy told me about it, but I believe I am the second person that knew that it was happening. And I always wanted to name a promotion Bell to Bell. So I told Missy that was something that I thought would be really cool to do. Because I think it's a great name. And so and I did not think she was actually going to name it Bell to Bell, and she did, so that was really cool. So it feels like my promotion more than any promotion I've ever wrestled for, even the even the MFPW. Like I just have such an emotional attachment to Bell to Bell. It feels like I feel like I'm Bell to Bell's godmother in a way. So being the first champion and being a big representative of the company is extremely important to me, and it's skills that I'm learning now will be helpful to me in the future, and I know that for sure, because watching Missy run the company has taught me so much, even though I haven't really been like super hands-on in that way. Just experiencing it and learning has been tantamount to like where my career may be going. It's been great.
Wow. So talk a little bit about your relationship with Missy Sampson, because I got to tell you, I mentioned this at the beginning. Watching you two interact there before we got on the air, man, you guys are like two peas in a pod there.
Yeah, Missy and I have known each other for a good while. We met at a show called Aspire. It was a joint show with Aspire and a company called Super Crazy here in Philly, and we were randomly kind of putting a tag team together against Sumi Sakai and Vita Von Star. Those were our opponents, and I mean, we've been friends ever since. But like, it was so funny because we both had really light blonde hair at the time, and so someone asked if Missy was my mom, and then I was like, "Oh,
it was our referee."
Our referee, yes, it was. It's like, are you?
It was like mother-daughter tag team.
Yes, yeah. And then ever since then, I mean, we were sort of destined to be in each other's lives and be friends, which is very lovely. It's hard to find like friends like that in this business sometimes. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we had a fun match too. So that's another.
We did.
Well, that's what it's all about, having fun and just enjoying what you're doing. That's awesome. So let's kind of take it back to the beginning a little bit. And this is a question that we ask a lot of people, and it always ends up making me feel bad, but I still ask it anyways. What is your earliest memory of pro wrestling?
Probably my dad dressing up as the Undertaker for Halloween one year.
Nice.
Are there pictures of that?
There are, and my mom was like a hippie, so she had like a blonde bob and like a like a go-go kind of thing. Not
I need to see
like
a picture of Pop dressed as the Undertaker.
It's not a good costume, but anyway, no. He's dressed as the Undertaker, and he's got a deeper skin tone than I do, so like trying to put the white over it, like. But yeah, I think that's probably my earliest memory. Also, around the same time, my brother had hamsters, and they were named China, Lita, and Trish. And they got out, and somehow my cat did not get them, and I saw Lita just running around like the baseboards. I'm like, "There's Lita! We found her!" So 2 not particularly like wrestling memories, but they are memories that involve wrestling.
Yeah, we got to see a little bit of you and your dad during the Apple TV show, which was very cool to see that sort of home dynamic and seeing someone who really supports what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. It's not lost on me how blessed I am that he's as supportive as he is. And that's why like I involve him in so much of what I do because
Mhm.
it's I think like he was extremely athletic when he was younger and in my youth, and I think he would have made like a killer wrestler if he wanted to get into it. And I asked him, I was like, "Well, you've always been a fan. Like, why didn't you do it?" And he said running the ropes freaked him out because he was
Ooh.
worried that they'd fall off or something. And like that never occurred to me that that's a possibility, but it could happen.
Yeah.
And then once he gave me that fear, I was like, oh my god, now I think about it every time I run the ropes. But that's what stopped him. He was running the ropes. He was afraid that he would like fall over or something.
And I have to say, for those people that watched the Monster Factory show and saw that, that is not made up TV. That is how Gabby and her dad are. Our last show, when Gabby won the title, I had her dad sitting front row center. And our photographer, Jess Sky, I don't do I never ask her to take pictures of the fans. She throws a couple in, but whatever. But right after Gabby won, when I looked at the picture she sent me, there's a picture of Gabby, then a picture of her dad, then a picture of Gabby, then like she went back and forth between Gabby and her dad taking pictures. And it warmed my soul so much just to see the beaming pride on that man.
Yeah.
I said that to her. I go, that was my favorite part, that you went back and forth taking pictures between Gabby and her dad.
That's so cool.
They have the best relationship. I love it.
That's awesome. So kind of sticking with maybe your earliest memories of wrestling, what was it that really kind of made you decide like this is what I want to do?
Well, it's so hard to like narrow that down because I think everything in my life that I've dipped my toes into or that I've dived into, acting, music, sewing, whatever, led me to wrestling in a way because all of those things are sort of relevant in wrestling. But the moment where I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna like do it. Oh, I don't know what that guy. Wait.
I love that you swatted and
it just went away.
So I got back into wrestling when I was in my late teens, and I took a very big liking to Seth Rollins. I thought he was great. I still think he's great. And I went to a meet and greet because the Royal Rumble, was it the Royal Rumble? Yeah, it had to be because it was January, and I joined the Monster Factory in February. Yeah. So they were doing it here, and I couldn't get tickets to that, but I could get tickets to a Seth Rollins meet and greet. So I did that, and I went and I was in line, and I dressed really nice. I was just very cute, very professional, and everybody was kind of dressed up as wrestling fans, and I didn't really know, like, that's fine, just t-shirts and jeans. And I was like, I don't know if I belong in this line. I don't think I belong. So I met Seth Rollins. He's very nice. Told me I look great, which was made me feel good. But then I got home and I was like, I don't belong with the wrestling fans. I think I could do this. I think I could be a wrestler.
Wow.
And I remember I thought of AJ Lee, I thought of Paige, and there are two girls that like sort of that looked like me. And there weren't other female wrestlers that looked like me. So it kind of gave me hope that like there was a place for me in the business. And I emailed Danny a couple days later, and then I was there, and then I kind of never looked back.
That's a really interesting perspective. We hear stories from people all the time, but just looking at it from the way you looked at it, like, I don't think I belong here. I think I can do this. You had sort of that draw to being a wrestler. And I think that's a really passionate way to look at, how you got into the business.
Yeah. I used to not say that part of the story. I used to, I met Seth Rollins and I wanted to become a wrestler, whatever. I used to like kind of hide that because I felt kind of bad about it. I was like, I don't want people to think that like I'm making fun of wrestling fans. That's not it at all. I just didn't relate. I felt like I related more to Seth Rollins than I did to the people online, and it was just it. And then more recently, I've been more honest about that part of the story.
No, it's
Like,
that's
what does anyone do? Fire me? Like,
no, that's a really good
I
part.
would
though.
never.
No. See, now you got support right there, but no, that's a really good part of the story though, because it really it shows it shows a different passion. And I've talked to some people recently in the business about, now that you're a wrestler, or now that you're a trainer, do you look at wrestling the same? And a lot of people will say, I don't see it the same way as I did when I was a fan. So you kind of saw that right off the bat, that you were seeing things differently.
yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
I felt it's a very nice way to put that. I appreciate it. It makes me feel better about it. Because I always felt kind of like a mean girl when I look back on it. I'm like,
Mhm.
but thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Monster Factory. What kind of describe, if you can, what your experience has been like being at the Monster Factory.
Um, so the Monster Factory was kind of it's sort of a pressure cooker of an environment. Especially back when I was coming up, because Danny was a major hard ass. He still is, but I think he was a little more back then. He's kind of softened up a little bit over the years. Um, and at first it was just like going there was like gave me tons of anxiety, because I was like, it was very intense. The training was intense. The coaches were intense. The relationships I had with people there were intense. It was just like a really intense environment. But it taught me, and it gave me a thick skin, and I wouldn't have want to come up any other way
Mm.
than the way that I came up, at the factory. And now the pressure is, I'm sure other kids feel the way that I did back then. But for me, like, I'm more seasoned.
Mhm.
I can kind of come and go, and it's just I've been around a long time, so I have a very different experience there now, where it's much more relaxed for me. And I can sort of take on a role of like helping Missy or Danny if needed,
Mhm.
which I am happy to do, very
Sure.
happy to do. So my place at the Monster Factory has evolved over the years, definitely.
Mhm. So, Missy, same question to you. What's it been like, being at the factory with Gabby?
Insane. No, I'm kidding. When you throw in the with Gabby, Gabby will never take enough of the credit that she probably deserves for anything. So I'm gonna give it to her. Gabby is part of the reason I have my coaching job at the
Wow.
Monster Factory. When Danny was thinking about hiring a female coach, Gabby was the one that went to him and said, "You should hit up Missy."
Mm.
And he did. And I didn't want to coach. And my favorite line in life anymore is Danny Cage talked me into it. So I started coaching, faking it till I make it as a coach. But I love having Gabby there. First of all, I am probably one of the biggest Gabby Ortiz fans you will find. I love having Gabby Ortiz anywhere with me. For me, because me and Gabby are so close, just having her sit next to me, we don't have to speak. It's my soul feels calmer because Gabby's there. As far as a coach goes, I love when she comes in and can help give a different perspective, is an extra set of eyes that I trust when I'm coaching, isn't afraid to speak up and point stuff out that maybe I didn't see or I didn't notice. So I love that. I wish she would come to every one of my classes. Everyone.
Amazing. So, Missy, I understand you have, as you put it, you have some interesting questions for Gabby.
Oh, you want me to get started? Great.
Yes, let's do it.
Don't worry, baby. I got you.
Okay.
So, for those who maybe don't know, very young in your life and career, you got the opportunity to go wrestle in Japan. How old were you when you did that?
I was 22.
How was that, going from here, wrestling for the Monster Factory, for Ring of Honor, and then going over to Japan so young, you know, kind of by yourself. How was that different for you?
Um, so I wrestled twice at the Monster Factory and once for Ring of Honor, and then I was shipped off to Japan. Like I
So
had
your
only
fourth match
wrestled,
ever was in Japan.
yeah, at Kurikan
Oh,
Hall. Yeah. No, I'm lying to you. It was at Yokohama Hall. That's where my fourth match was. Um, and it was against Mayu and Konami, and it was me and Shanna were tagging together. Shanna is a irrelevant. Um, but anyway, I am so happy that I had that experience because when I got home, I was like a hot commodity. Like I people wanted to book me. They wanted me to be on Ring of Honor, blah, blah, whatever, whatever. And but then there's a part of me that wishes like I had more time before I went to prepare myself because I would have done things differently and I would have come home and marketed myself a little bit differently. I wouldn't have let relationship stuff get in the way of like what I should have done because of relationships that totally derailed a lot of things that I could have done. And that's my mistake on my own. Um so I'm really grateful for that experience, but again, like I do wish that I had had more time in the business before I went there because I went in just not only naive to like bring in ring stuff, but the business stuff too. And I witnessed some things there that I wasn't super excited about. That I saw and I was like, I don't want that to be my journey in wrestling. I don't want that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that. And I've taken that with me all the way. Like I have not deterred from that at all. um, but if I were to go now and or do it all over again, I would make some smarter decisions, but business decisions, because I'm really proud of myself looking back on it and the moral decisions that I made. Because there's stuff that goes on, you know, when you're overseas and there's other people there and other weird things happen that I just did not get involved with, and I still wouldn't. At my big age. So I'm proud of myself for that aspect, but I do wish that business in the business side of things, I had done things a little bit differently. I had been a little bit smarter about things because I think I would be somewhere different. But then again, I look at it and I'm like, I like where I am right now, you know. Like, so it all worked out.
I like where you are right now because it's with me.
Yes.
You brought up relationships and you know and how they you know can
Yeah.
you give any advice to girls who are either in the business, looking to get in the business about you know wanting to have a relationship and wanting to have a career in professional wrestling?
So don't come into I feel like a lot of people do this now, and I don't know if this is just like if it's always been this way or if it's just something I'm noticing, but like they go into professional wrestling as like a dating service to like find people to like you know, and that's I mean you see it all the time. I've been it, like I get it. Um so don't come into wrestling with that in mind that I'm going to find a significant other. It shouldn't be about that. It should never be about that. And if it is, rethink why you're doing this or rethink your journey and what you want to do. But I've my history with the dating and wrestling is generally okay. There was some stuff that wasn't great going into it, but just protect yourself always. Always, even if you meet somebody like I'll protect you, I'll look out for you, I'll do this, I'll do that. Like, okay, but never take your guard fully down. I wouldn't. I haven't. I don't. um, and that might be them. And it's not just like because of wrestling. It's because of other things and stuff. But and I think a big thing is making sure that like there is a good found. If you decide to date and you meet somebody and you hit it off and it's great and it's lovely, and that's happened for me. Deciding creating just a foundation that is based in your relationship only outside of wrestling. You know what I mean? Like just make it its own thing. If you really want to do it, if you're really going to do it, make sure it's your own thing. And if there's ever an opportunity to do an angle or be in a tag team or whatever, like really think and really make sure that your foundation of your relationship is good enough to withstand a potential storyline thing where it turns into a weird whatever, which like I prefer not to get involved in that at all. So, but I feel like I've rambled just then. I don't know. I'm still learning. I'm learning every day.
Real quick before I hit you with anything else. Hi, Kevin Daubert. He's in the chat. I can see the chat. I can't, for some reason, my YouTube wouldn't connect me to let me type in the chat.
We were,
but Kevin,
so I was going to bring this up because Kevin made a couple comments here. Number one, Gabby's such a good-hearted, genuine human being.
Oh, thanks,
I
guys.
second that.
And this one I really like too as well. He says, I was at a Bell to Bell event a few weeks ago. Missy went around and thanked everyone for coming. I've never seen that ever.
I did do that as much as I could, because these people work hard for their money.
Yes.
You know, they have other things, other places they could have been that day, other things they could have spent that money on. And instead they showed up and they came to support the girls. And that every one of them individually means the world to me.
Yep.
So that's why I know who Kevin is. I met him because I met him at the show. I know exactly which one he was. He was sitting on the bleachers with a female. Pardon
I
me.
think that was his lovely wife.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was his wife, sister, significant other. I didn't want to be wrong. So his wife, very lovely people. You know, I came out. They weren't a face that I had recognized from prior shows. So I made sure to ask them, like, did you guys have a good time? And they said that they did. And I'll tell you, last show was really stressful for me because I was getting people calling out from 10 o'clock the night before to the morning of the show. I had to, you know, wake up and hurry up and rewrite some matches. You know, so, but that's why I do that, because every human being that comes to a Bell to Bell show, I value them and I appreciate them. So I do try to bop out and thank as many of them as I can get to. All right, Gabs, heat's back on you.
Oh.
So, you know, as we've discussed, in essence, you named our promotion, because one of the hurdles for me that I think I was hanging on to as to why not to do it was like, oh, you got to come up with a name, and a name is everything. And that's when I called you and was like, guess what Danny wants me to do? Like, I was like, I'd have to come up with a name. And you gave me Bell to Bell, and I was like, can I steal that? And you were like, yeah. So Gabby gets Bell to Bell in my will. She named it. When I'm gone, it's hers.
I don't want that to happen ever, though.
I'm just saying, inevitably, I gotta go.
Whatever.
No. Yeah, now that you have the belt here.
Oh.
There's an Easter egg on that belt that only you and I know about.
Yes.
And for the first time ever right here on Opinion City Podcast, why don't you go ahead and share that with everyone?
So this is probably the most gorgeous belt I've ever seen, let alone have held. So I'm very excited.
Shout outs to Samson Grove. Me and Samson Grove designed that and Samson had it made.
So you have the beautiful plates, established 2024. And then over here on this plate, it says in loving memory of SMS and SB. Those are Missy's mom's initials and my mom's initials. Because Bell to Bell wouldn't exist without those beautiful ladies.
Exactly.
So
and that will stay on the belt no matter who owns
whoever has it. I got my mom's name right there.
It's graced in the memory of Gabby's mom and my mom.
Yes. I love that. I was very moved.
I had to tell her about it before she, you know, even went in the match for that belt.
Yeah. Yeah. You told me
if she won and then had seen it and realized it, I would have been dealing with a puddle mess.
Yes. Yes, you would have. So you made the right call with that. But yeah, it's very special to me. It means more than
I'll just tell people it gave you the extra oomph to win.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
So you end up last two with someone you're very familiar with, the notorious Mimi.
Yes.
I will never take anything away from Mimi. I love Mimi.
Me too.
I often refer to her as the toughest person in the building with the best work ethic.
I agree.
What did it mean to you for it to come down to the two of you? And then what did it mean to you to then be the victor out of that?
I mean, it always ends up being Mimi and I. That's kind of just that's how it is. There's been girls that have come in and out of the Monster Factory, very talented women, and I think you know who I'm talking about, who just didn't do it. You know what I mean? That never like they had every opportunity to, they had all the skills to, and their lives just went in a different direction. And I feel like between Mimi and I, we are the two out of the factory. And she got signed and I didn't, but I think her and I are the two women at the factory who are doing it. You know, um, that claim the factory as their home, and it just means the world to me to like for someone to have who came after me to do as well as she has done, because it's not it's it's not like the most femme environment in the world, you know. It's
No.
the Monster Factory. So it's hard to find success in that environment, and she has, and I'm so proud of her. I'm so beyond proud of her. And I was very nervous for her when she first started in the business. I'm like, I don't want you to get hurt. Like I don't want anyone to hurt you. And I don't mean that in just like a physical way. I mean that in an emotional way. And but she's tough. And you said she's one of she's the toughest person in the room. She didn't need me to protect her in any way, but I sure did. Yelled at a couple people every so often when it came down to Mimi, because I do not I don't play about that. I do not play about it. But here's the thing. I love her. I care for her. I will protect her. She's my sister in this business and beyond forever and ever, but I will beat her ass if given the opportunity. And that's exactly what happened. I had to throw all that history out the window and not really worry about that and worry about the match and what was happening and how to win. And I was like, I almost didn't make it. I really did. I was like, I'm done. I don't think I have any more left in me. I think I'm just gonna throw in the towel, but I couldn't. I couldn't, because it wasn't about that. It wasn't about this wasn't a match to do that in, and I would never do that in a match. But I really felt like I was gonna give up in this one. But we talked about it earlier that quitting is always an option, but I'm lying because I couldn't quit. Quitting was not an option here. And I'm just like, and as proud as I am of Mimi, I'm proud of myself for beating somebody that I find so admirable. So that felt good to me. Yeah.
And what is your outlook on the fact that we have already announced on our next show, Ring the Bell, the main event is a rematch one-on-one for the Diamond Championship between you and Mimi?
Well, I beat her once. I can do it again.
That's
And there's not two other people in the way. So.
that's right. It's only one-on-one, straight up.
One-on-one. I think I can manage.
Okay. Is there anything else you have coming up in your life, in your career, that you're looking forward to?
Yes. So I'm gonna be in a Rumble on February 8th for Mawa. I am the current tag champion there. It's a women's
That's the
Rumble
Sherry
for
Martel Invitational, correct?
Sherry Martel Invitational, exactly. Thank you for remembering the name. I'll be in that with a bunch of really awesome girls from the Jersey, PA, tri-state area. I'm very excited about that because I don't really know what to expect from it, honestly, but I am excited. I won't have my tag sister there, Michelle. Michelle moved out west, so I'm a solo tag champ, I guess. I don't really know, but we're not worried about the tag champs for this show. I'm dealing with the invitational, which I'm very excited about.
And then we have May 3rd, which I'll tell everyone about now.
Oh my God, yes, May 3rd.
I got you. Shh, don't worry about it. I got you. Looked at me like, what? I'm like, no, I got you.
Oh my God. May 3rd's gonna be cool.
At TWA One and Done at the 2300 Arena. It's a big WrestleCon convention in the afternoon, which Gabby will be participating in. And then Gabby will also be representing Bell to Bell that evening on the show. It will be a title match, and it will be against Notorious Mimi. So whoever wins March 22nd goes in as the champion, and the other gets a shot. Yeah. But even one of the things I think is so much cooler about this whole match is who your special guest ref is. And the special guest ref for that match is going to be none other than the icon of women's wrestling, Medusa.
Wow. Jeez,
Yeah.
incredible.
It's been so cool, like rubbing elbows with these with these incredible icons, female, just not just women's icons, just icons in wrestling. Take away their gender, doesn't really matter. They're icons. With recently we
Mm.
did the Lisa Marie Verone Cup, which I won.
Yeah, you did.
And then we had we filmed some cool stuff with Lita recently, which was really cool. And now, doing stuff with Medusa, Alundra, I'm just like I can't believe it. Like it's really,
And there's going to be like
really
so many
incredible.
cool people there that day.
Oh yeah, tons of
Ric
yeah.
Flair, Rock and Roll Express. Talk about women. Baby Doll's going to be there. Her daughter, Missy Hyatt's going to be there. Francine will be there for the convention. Heidi Lee Morgan, who was one of my trainers, who Gabby's also done interviews for, she's going to be there. Yeah, it's just going to be a stacked day from top to bottom.
It'll be really fun.
I'll be hiding in the back somewhere, making sure there's enough bell-to-bell flyers on Gabby's table. It's my job for that day.
Yeah. Well, that's very cool. And first I like that you asked her about the relationship stuff, because that brings up the very first time that we've ever had dating advice here on the show.
Oh,
Leave it to the women.
There you go. But that's very important, though. Like
I don't
it
know
is,
if I gave good advice though.
I think you did all right.
I'm learning as I go.
Listen, all you got to do is reach one person. If you reach one person out there who hears what you say and is better off for it, then you've done your job.
Oh, and I'll tell you right now, him saying that, I loaded the question because I know for a fact one of our female junior students is listening right now with her mom.
Mm.
So hi, Kenzie Tyler.
Wow.
I don't know how I feel about that. No, be smart. Child, be smart. Oh my God. Did this juniors program, Missy? It stresses me.
She was our timekeeper at the last Bell Bell show.
I know. She's great. She makes me nervous though. She freaks me out.
They still won't let me bubble wrap these kids.
I know. If I could, I would.
I want to, and it annoys me that they won't let me.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So anybody that has seen you on the Apple TV show, or anybody that has taken the opportunity to look at any of your social media, will see one thing in common throughout all of that, and that's Philadelphia. What? What'd you say?
Fallout Boy.
We'll talk about
Fallout Boy. Well, sure. You know what? Well, all right. So I have to admit, because we've talked about Fallout Boy, not on the air here, but I was going through your social media and I saw you were at some concert or at some event and you had FOB, and I was like, what is FOB? Like, I don't know why it didn't hit me. Like, I'm like, what's, and when she said it, then I was like, oh, what's wrong with me? I should have known that. But no, Philadelphia is Philadelphia is a huge part of it. It seems like everything about you. So talk a little bit about growing up in Philadelphia. What was that like?
I mean, I know nothing else but Philadelphia when it comes to growing up. So I I always feel like my upbringing was quite tame. Like I had very protective parents. They were always, involved with my life and everything like that. And then I hear about like a kid from the suburbs upbringing, and I'm like, oh, things were different. Like it was very different. Like I did not live a sheltered life as I thought I had by any means. No. But this city is like, it's like my little playground. Like I don't feel, people are scared like living here sometimes. I've never felt scared, despite probably needing to feel scared sometimes in some situations, but I'm very smart. I have a lot of street smarts because of that. And I'm a big history buff too. Like I love history. I love especially the American Revolutionary War like type. And I don't know if that's because I'm from Philly or if it's like or if it's just because I would like it regardless of where I lived. But I think being from Philly definitely helped helped like elaborate my love for that time period of history. So having all of that just at my fingertips, just like down the street from where I went to school, driving by Independence Hall every single day on my bus, like, I mean, for a little nerd like me, there's nothing better. It's just the coolest thing in the world. My favorite place in the entire on the entire planet is Citizens Bank Park. Like I want to like raise my children there. I want to give birth to them there. I want to just like I
Oh
want
wow.
the fanatic
Jeez.
to be my like midwife.
I don't know how the Phillies organization would feel about that,
I
or
don't
maybe
care.
the fanatic in general. I don't know. I don't know if that's one of the fanatic's skills or not. But
He can
geez.
do anything,
Well,
okay? He
okay,
is from the
sure.
Galapagos Islands and he is also an alien, I think. I don't really know what the story is there.
Yeah.
But
I don't think
but yeah,
anybody knows what species the fanatic actually is.
it's not important. He's
No,
a
it's
fanatic. He's
yeah.
great.
He's just happy Philly's a sanctuary city, so he can't be deported.
Exactly. Hell yeah. I was there. I was there when we put that into law. I was in the room when he signed the paper that was like Sanctuary
Wow.
City, and that was like a cool historical moment. Anyway, Jim Kenney, the old mayor from the last mayor. Anyway,
Mhm.
being from Philly is the best. I love it here. I love the city. It drives me crazy. I hate it so much. I love it.
So you mentioned Citizens Bank Park, which again, if anybody's looking at your social medias, they see the Phillies reference all over.
Totally.
So you're obviously a Philly sports fan. So talk a little bit about that. You did mention to me that you're more of a baseball fan
Yeah.
than a football fan. But talk about just
Go Birds.
Philly sports in
Go
general. Yes,
Birds.
go Birds. Amen.
I mean, Philly sports is just kind of like the DNA of the city. I remember working when I worked for the mayor for 8 years. Both of his terms, I was an executive assistant for him, and I
Wow.
remember like, I remember we'd be excited that the Phillies or the Eagles or the Sixers or whatever were doing well because that meant crime rate would go down. So, and it's so weird how that is. Like, it's just kind of a fact. It sucks, but it is what it is. So we'd be like really excited when a team was doing well because it would be sort of like a burst of prosperity in the
Mm.
city, which is super nice. Everyone's really polite. Everyone's really happy.
Happy people don't commit crimes.
Happy people don't commit crimes. And so, unless it's climbing up grease
Yes, I was going to say the polls. Yeah.
Why is that a crime?
It shouldn't be. I agree.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And so yeah, it's like it's just a part of like the mood of the general mood of the city is our teams and our sports.
Mhm.
And we're at a place right now where Philly's just even if we don't make it like all the way or however it is, like we're just a good sports team. We have good teams. The Sixers are, the Sixers deserve whatever bad juju they're getting right now. I don't even care. But the Union's a great soccer team. The Flyers are pretty good. Gritty's amazing, and the Phillies and the Eagles are they're dynamite teams, and
Mm.
I'm very proud to have never left the bandwagon because there's people when they weren't doing so good. Oh, I'm gonna root for the Toronto Blue Jays or whatever.
Mm-mm.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I never left, and I never will. I'm going to the grave a Philly sports fan.
Do you have a favorite Philadelphia Philly?
Of all time or in the current?
Well, no, of all time, and
Okay, Cole
yeah.
Hamels.
I knew that was going to be the answer.
Cole
I saw you were at Cole Hamels night.
I was. I got my
Yes.
ring. I have my ring right over there.
Oh wow,
I have
that's
3.
incredible.
Yeah, three replica rings.
No. 3
three
favorite
sports.
Phillies of all time.
Ooh,
Right.
okay.
Mickey Morandini, Pat
Oh.
Burrell, Shane Victorino.
Oh, nice.
Shea Victorino's a good one.
I like Shane. Yeah, I've always been a Chase Utley fan myself.
Chris Utley's the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shane Victorino came to City Hall once with his dad because his dad was like a mayor in a town in Hawaii. So like he came to like visit the city council chambers and whatever, and he was very nice. And then like there's City Hall has like Hot Wheel sized cockroaches with wings that like run around. It's the worst. It's a very old building, and there was one that was like kind of dying, and he was like playing, like he was like kicking it around, like playing with it. And I'm like, I'm like, can we put that in the trash or something? And he was like, no, it's fun. He's a weird guy, but he's very nice.
Hmm. So other than Philly sports and obviously wrestling, what kind of things do you like to do outside of the ring?
Go to every Fall Out Boy concert she can get tickets to.
Honestly, that's like not even a joke.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's not even a joke. That's actually one of my hobbies is to find Fall Out Boy and watch them play music.
How many Fall Out Boy concerts did you go to just last year?
Uh, 6.
I was going to say, I count at least 4 off
Wow.
my memory.
No,
which
it was
we know is
4.
so
It was
good.
4. You're right. It was 4, and it was 6 in 2023, 4 in 2024.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
love them. But other hobbies that I have are makeup and hair. I love doing makeup. I love doing hair. I can sew. I haven't done it in a while. I help my boyfriend with his gear, and that's always fun to do. I find that an enjoyable task, so I'll consider that a hobby. Uh, and hanging out with my cat, Mindy.
Ooh,
I was just going to say,
yeah.
cuddling the judgmental cat.
Cuddling Mindy. She's 19 years old. I have to get as much cuddles in as I can.
Is she honestly 19 or was that like an exaggeration?
No, she's
19 years old.
Yeah.
And
That's
if you
insane.
see her, to me, she like in the face, she just always looks like she's judging you.
Yeah.
So I always
very
tell
sweet.
Gabby, I'm going to be judged by your cat.
Wow.
One time I took a video with her. I was holding her. I think I sent it to you, where she just like
Yeah.
took my earring off. Like she didn't
Yeah.
like it.
She's like, we're not wearing this.
She's like, nope, I don't like it. Yeah, she's a sweet
Right.
girl.
Very cool. So do you have any, I mean, you've been in wrestling for quite some time now. You've gotten, to do certain things. Do you have any goals that you really still want to accomplish in the wrestling world?
Kind of, yes, of course. Not kind of. Yeah, I do. I want to work for one of the major companies. I don't know in what capacity really. Like I would love anything. My dream, I'm going to put it out in the universe now, is to be used in the WWE in like a way that kind of like James Ellsworth was, or like
Ooh.
Chelsea Green when she was like a doctor, and get my foot in that way, because I don't want to go to the PC. That's scary down
Well, you were
there.
just an EMT not too long ago.
Exactly. I'm not too far off. It's
Yeah.
it's there, but like that's how I want to get my foot in the door at WWE, is be like a really like have like a featured extra spot that they like
Mhm.
that kind of goes viral, and like I keep getting asked back.
There you go.
That's my cheat code way.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that is going to bring us to our final question of the
Dun-dun-dun.
interview. And this is something we ask everyone that we have on the show, and this is usually Sean's favorite moment to ask this question. So I'll be doing it in his place today. I hope I do it justice. But what does pro wrestling mean to you, and how has it affected your life?
Pro wrestling to me means ultimate creation in every way. It's such a multimedia art form, and I think that gets lost on people. And that's why I love it so much, is because I've been able to express everything I like to do in wrestling. Plus like cool stage combat stuff, which was one of my favorite classes in theater, and like elevating it and taking it to like a real place, because wrestling, it's very real. People forget that we're making contact with each other. We're taking these crazy bumps. We are truly doing it. So wrestling to me is just art. It's art, and it has affected me in a way that I never knew art could. I came up in a very sort of snotty musical theater. Snotty is kind of the wrong word, but like I was a musical theater kid, and I did a lot of straight plays. I studied Greek theater for years, and I didn't think, and I kind of always looked at wrestling as like silly until I got into it, and I was like, no, this is high art, and not a lot of people can do it. A lot of people can get on the stage, read a script, and do a play, but not a lot of people can do what we do. And I'm really honored to be in that niche group of people that are able to do it.
Right. Great answer.
And do it
Oh.
well.
Yes.
Period.
There you go. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the interview portion of the show, which means it is time for our main event top
Yay.
5 list. And we are always excited when we get people that come on here, and we love the wrestling top 5s. They're great, but we also love the outside of wrestling top 5s because it lets us learn a little bit more about people. So Gabby,
My
what
fat
have you
ass
got?
did junk food.
Yes,
Good one.
listen, you have no idea how important conversations about food are on this show. Like it always becomes this huge thing. But what have you got for us today, Gabby?
So I wanted to do something that is very familiar to me in my everyday life, and that is my top 5 favorite emo and alternative rock bands.
Exciting.
Yes.
All right.
So
So
you got to start at 5.
yes.
I know
Start
it
at
was
number
hard to
5.
narrow down out of 100,000.
No wonder you didn't go with my suggestions, such as Pete Wentz haircuts and Fall Out Boy songs.
Well, in 2006,
Oh, boy.
he got some highlights that I wasn't a huge fan of.
Yeah, they only get an honorable mention. They don't make the top 5.
They actually have a song called Honorable Mention of their
Ah,
first album, Evening Out with Your Girlfriend, 2003.
wow. All right. All right. Well, let's get
Number
this started
5,
with your number
emo
5.
alternative band.
Yeah.
Am I the only one who's answering this?
Yes.
Yes.
This
Oh,
is
okay,
this
okay,
is
okay.
all strictly you. We're gonna
Cool, cool, cool.
we're gonna discuss them as we need to.
We may
discuss them here.
comment, but
Yes.
All right, number 5 is a band called Taking Back Sunday from Long Island, New York.
Ooh.
They have their first 3 records are probably their strongest, but they do have another great record that has a song called How I Met Your Mother that's very hard hitting. It's a great workout song. They still tour to this day. They're very they definitely work as a nostalgia act, but I do think that they do have strong records after their first 3 that people don't really know about, but I think are very good. And I just saw them at When We Were Young in Vegas, and they did very, very good.
Oh, very cool. All right, number 5 is down. What do you have for your number 4?
Number 4 was a difficult one for me to place because I wanted to put this one band, and then I decided to put another because I feel that in growing up I have related to them more, and that is Motion City Soundtrack. Motion City Soundtrack is a great band. A good friend of mine is dates the drummer, I believe, and that's super cool to say that I know a person that dates the drummer. But they're a great band, and they're when I was younger, I would listen to them, but I didn't quite relate. But I thought they were fun, but I didn't quite relate. And as I've gotten older, I've related to them much more in terms of the way that they speak about the way that they describe emo, and like their lyrics aren't as like in your face, cut my wrist, black my eyes kind of situation. It's more like I'm afraid of roller coasters and talking to people. And it's like, oh, me too. I don't cut my wrist or black my eyes. I don't do that, but no way. But I hate roller coasters, theme parks, and airplanes, talking with strangers, waiting in line. And I'm like, okay, I get that. So
it speaks to you.
It speaks to me. It speaks to me as I've gotten older, for sure. Did we lose
All
Missy?
right. It looks like we did lose Missy, so we'll keep going with our top 5 list here. Hopefully Missy will rejoin us shortly. Yes. All right. So number 3.
Number 3 is a band called Saves the Day.
Oh, yeah.
Saves the Day is, I believe, they're from New Jersey. They are sort of not elementary emo, but they're sort of like the godfathers of like all of these bands that I've been talking about and will continue to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And their first album, Through Being Cool, is such a staple in emo culture. And I think even if you don't know it, you know it because of how important it is to like these other bands and their progression as artists. And Saves the Day, they still tour. I saw them as well in When We Were Young this year, and they were amazing. So Saves the Day. Chris Connolly still sounds like a teenage boy. He's the lead singer. So
very cool. All right. We're up to your number 2.
Number 2 is a band called Say Anything, fronted by a gentleman named Max Bemis. I pick them because I feel like Max Bemis's writing is extremely unique. And
Mhm.
it's definitely some hard hitting stuff. It's not the easiest listen in the world, that's for sure. Max Bemis doesn't have like the prettiest voice,
Mhm.
but the way that he writes and the way that he delivers his music is just so incredible. And even if I don't relate to it, even if I don't quite understand it, because there's songs that he has, I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? It's still enjoyable, and he's a great live performer too. He's a ton of fun to watch. I saw him in November of last was it November? I don't remember. It was cold. It was cold out, and he had strep throat, but he was like killing it. I mean, you would
Mhm.
if they didn't tell us, like you wouldn't have known. He was just incredible.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us up to our number one. And Missy, you came back just in time for number one.
Sorry, everything froze, and then I tried to refresh,
Yeah,
and I got
that's
booted, and I had to like to get back in.
well.
Happy to
You're
have you
here.
back.
Yes.
All
I'll
right.
never leave you.
And my number one emo band that I love so dearly, Hall and Oates. I'm just kidding.
Oh, amazing. Oh, listen. Do you know that Hall and Oates has more number one hit singles than any other
Any other
music
duo.
I
duo
was
in
like, did
history?
she really just say Hall and Oates?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
No,
so
I'm
glad you said
lying.
that.
I do like Hall and Oates. They're not friends anymore though. They don't hang out. They don't like each other.
No,
My number one favorite band is Fall Out Boy.
I
Fall Out
didn't
Boy
see that
is
coming.
yep. Nope,
Not
no.
at all.
That's why I wanted to hit you with a little swerve right there.
Yeah.
Hall and Oates, great. Fall Out Boy, better. I love Fall Out Boy. They have changed my life. I have friends because of Fall Out Boy. I have seen parts of the world I wouldn't have seen otherwise if I wasn't going to see a Fall Out Boy show. To me, they're the greatest band in the world. I don't know how they've never won a Grammy. It's a tragedy. Patrick Stump is an incredible vocalist. Pete Wentz, great bassist, great lyricist. Andy Hurley is an incredible drummer. Joe Truman is an amazing and talented guitarist, and their point of view
Hmm.
in music is just, I think it's so incredibly unique. It's hard to even consider them an emo band anymore because of the growth that they've had over the years. And their latest album, So Much for Stardust, is just like, it is a masterpiece. And I'm so grateful that I got to see them play so much of it over the last 2 years. And before then, all the times I've seen them
Yeah.
before then.
All of the years.
All of the years.
Yes. All right. Well, a great top five. Gave our listeners some emo and alternative bands to check out if you have not heard them. Not for nothing, but I did see Saves the Day in concert once. They opened for Green Day and Blink-182.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they
What
were
a cool
really
lineup.
good. Yeah, that was at Hershey Park. I think that was 2002, I believe. It was an MTV tour. And Green Day and Blink-182 were doing like an MTV tour. So
back when MTV did music.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Anything was a pretty new act at that point, 2002. They're
Yeah.
like, wow, that's awesome. How old was I? I was like 8. I would have went.
Oh yeah. Listen, there
Way to
was
make the rest of us feel old, Gabs. Thanks.
oh
I
yeah.
have to. I'm 30. Like I just turned 30, so I need
30.
any
Oh,
chance I
boy.
can get to
Just
feel
turned
young again.
46.
Man.
Simmer down, Sparkles.
Listen, okay. So that the question about like your earliest pro wrestling memory, that always kills me when I ask people that, because they're talking like, oh well, I remember when John Cena came out and slapped Kurt Angle on SmackDown, and I'm like, I remember when Brutus the Barber Beefcake was wrestling on like WWF Superstars, like, and it makes me feel so old. But
when
I was not
Gabby, I forget that there's a 15-year age gap there. Until she starts talking about, I stood in line as a fan to meet Seth Rollins. Was that last week?
I was already 20 years old at that point.
Oh wow.
I wasn't a little kid.
No. Oh geez. And not for nothing, since Hall and Oates was in your top five, if you've never, now you said they weren't friends anymore, but if you've ever seen Daryl Hall does this show on YouTube. It's called Live from Hall's House.
Yep.
And it's all like these amazing music performances. Yeah. It's a very cool show.
It is.
So he's kind of transcended maybe some of the Hall and Oates stuff.
I don't think he ever truly will.
Well, listen, he was in your top five, so yes. All right. So we are going to take just a short break while you check out this video, and we will be right back where we will talk some upcoming events. All right. Well, you can check out
Best
all the
is
great
I had
content.
no idea who they booked for Bell to Bell month until right now.
I
Well,
was
listen.
I was like, you got a bunch of good chicks.
Yeah. So, all right. So, first off, let me get this out of the way. So, if you haven't seen our episode from last week yet, it's Deus Ex Machina, who is a newer wrestler. He wrestles for Royalty Wrestling companies. He's been at LVAC. He's been in a lot of places around the area here. He participates in the Wrestle Factory and Pro Wrestling Workout. And if you have not seen his episode yet, I don't know how, because that episode is like blowing up. I don't understand what's going on. Like, so many people are watching that episode, which I anticipate that this episode is going to wipe it out of the water.
No.
Listen, this episode is going to be way up there at the top. But yeah, so obviously next week we continue our Bell to Bell month with Becca Wiley in 2 weeks. And I don't even know what to say about this. So in 2 weeks, we're talking to Mother Endless, and I'm not sure if I'm terrified or
Good luck.
I've been watching a lot of videos online, and I'm scared for myself. But we're gonna have a great conversation either way.
Work on
So
your vocabulary, because there are sometimes she'll send me like voice notes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I have to Google what that word means, and it's
Ooh.
like a 1700s word for like God knows what.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, when I have to, I have a very large vocabulary. My wife will tell you that because I use big words around her all the time. So I'm very excited for that one, and I'm also excited for our final episode in 3 weeks, where we'll be talking to
Big Daddy.
Adriana Mosley. We're super excited for all of our Bell to Bell guests this month. But with that, Gabby, is there anything else? You know, we talked a little bit earlier about some things you have coming up. Is there anything else you would like to highlight at this point?
Totally. So I will be in a cool indie horror movie filming this summer,
Ooh.
called The First Day to Fear. I will put all the information on my story and in my
Mhm.
link in bio. We're definitely crowdfunding the thing. It'll be very cool. I'm very
Are we
excited
friends
about
with the
that.
casting director?
I mean, that's kind of the same guy.
Because being killed in a horror movie is on my bucket list. It's one of 3 things
I'll,
on my
I'll
bucket
hit him up. I'll ask.
So if he needs
So-
somebody
Nice.
to be killed, I volunteer.
Nice.
Fantastic.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
Love it.
obviously February 8th, I have at Mawa is the Sherry Martel Invitational.
Mhm.
That'll be very, very, very fun. March 22nd is the next Bell to Bell event. I will be facing the Notorious Mimi, and then I'm sure I have other things in between then.
Mhm.
But then
May
May
3rd,
3rd,
TWA.
May 3rd,
at the
TWA
23rd Arena.
with
Yeah.
Mimi and special guest ref Medusa, also known as Alundra Blaze. And those are the cool big things I have coming up that I'm really excited about.
That's awesome. Now, of course, you mentioned the next Bell to Bell show, which is
There it
March
is.
22nd. Of course, at the Monster Factory in Paulsboro, New Jersey. It's a 3 p.m. bell time. You can get tickets. I believe the link is in our description. And as we discussed earlier, Gabby will be defending the Diamond Championship against Notorious Mimi. So very, very exciting stuff there. Listen, that is a stacked card.
Yes.
There are a lot of great matches. Make sure you hit up the Bell to Bell socials and the Bell to Bell website to get all the information on those matches. But it is a stacked card. If you enjoy women's wrestling, you cannot go wrong there, and you will get absolute value for your money because you will see great wrestling and a lot of it. You have a very stacked show.
Main evented by that cute.
There we go.
That way.
For me,
Oop,
it's
that
the
way.
opposite. I just need you to
Yes.
know. Like I'm pointing off screen for me right now.
Yeah, I understand. All right, very cool. So this has been oh boy, loving it. All right, well, I can't. What? Okay. All right. Well, this has been an awesome way to kick off Bell to Bell month. We're so excited again to be able to do this. You guys are a fantastic organization doing great things. Obviously, Gabby, we appreciate your time today and joining us as our first guest ever for our first ever Bell to Bell month, and it's great having you. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. This was really, really fun.
Thanks for being the amazing first representation.
Yeah, absolutely. The
No
Dynamite
problem.
champion. Yeah. And of course, Missy, thank you for your time jumping in today, taking Sean's spot. We were super excited that you were able to join us today as our guest host.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, listen.
It doesn't take much. It's like, hey, you want to talk to Gabby for an hour on Sunday? Sure do.
Yeah. Now this was great. I nothing against Sean because I love Sean. Sean's great. But this was such a great way to kick off the month, though. I'm glad that we decided to do this. When he was on the cruise, that way we could kind of set all this up like we did because it was
and
listen,
it applies to any of us directly, but Happy Black History Month.
Yes, amen to that.
Because some of us are still fucking celebrating.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Well, there you go. Listen, professional wrestling would not be where it's at today with some of the amazing, African American talents that have come through the ring. And yes, happy Black History Month, happy Bell to Bell month. Make sure that you do whatever you can to support Gabby and Bell to Bell. If you're anywhere near Paulsboro, New Jersey, March 22nd, get over there and see some amazing wrestling. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that is going to wrap it up for our very first ever Bell to Bell month episode. It's been a joy and a pleasure. So for Gabby Ortiz, guest host Missy Sampson, I am King Ralph. This has been the Opinion City Podcast. And remember, kindness is free, so be kind to each other. God bless, and we will see you next time.
Bye.